The Bronco is a modern icon, a retro-styled off-road beast that turns heads everywhere it goes. But what's beneath that rugged charm and adventure-ready looks? Frustrating quirks, unexpected compromises, and some quite shocking oversights of the designer. Stay with us and find out 6 reasons why drivers are selling Ford Bronco after only 5,000 miles. Number 6. Sound insulation. With its unique retro design and so many customization options, the Bronco certainly looks like a dream car for many. But all that magic disappears once the ride starts and new owners realize that the Bronco is too loud. Simply, it's an off-road vehicle with a boxy design and high ground clearance. Aerodynamics definitely isn't its thing. But then come fat off-road tires, so it's easy to presume that there's a lot of excessive noise coming from various sides. The fact that there are removable panels that, it turns out, are not sealed particularly well doesn't help either. Clearly, highway speeds are the biggest issue, as the Bronco suffers from excessive wind and road noise. The cabin is very loud, even with the hardtop, while the soft top only makes things even worse. Ford does offer sound-deadening roof panels, but those don't make much of a difference, and the fact that a solid number of Bronco buyers get this SUV because of its amazing looks and legacy, and don't use it much off the road, suggests that there's also a lot of disappointment. Simply, it's nowhere near modern crossovers in terms of comfort and refinement, but that's not the problem. The problem is that it lags behind key body-on-frame rivals. Both the previous and the new generation Toyota 4Runner are much quieter and feel more refined. Even the Wrangler has better sound insulation, so it's clear why many Bronco owners end up quite unhappy with their new SUV. Number 5. Interior materials. The Bronco stands out with its retro modern styling. The cabin looks quite interesting as well, but only until you get a little bit closer look. Then things change drastically as you realize that things could have been done way better. Simply throughout the cabin, there's a pretty impressive amount of cheap-looking materials. Low-rent plastics are all around, and while most off-road enthusiasts would be perfectly fine with their hard-touch nature, they certainly expect it to be durable, which is not the case. Many owners reported scratches at very low mileage, especially in the cargo area, which is supposed to be one of the toughest areas in the cabin. Things don't change much with higher trim levels. Although more expensive variants do look fancier, many areas remain wrapped with the same plastic, which seems like a big deal, considering that the Bronco is not a cheap vehicle at all. Moreover, if we do some comparison with key competitors, it turns out that Wrangler and 4Runner both feature nicer materials and seem better built from the inside. Still, not all things about Bronco's interior are bad. The cabin still looks attractive, and more importantly, it's equipped pretty well. Every model comes standard with a massive 12-inch infotainment screen and Ford's latest Sync 4 software, while things like Apple CarPlay, Android Auto, and Wi-Fi hotspots are also part of the standard equipment. Many upgrades are available too, so if there's one thing you won't miss in this off-roader, that's the latest tech. Number 4. Fuel economy. Unlike the Wrangler, which still mostly relies on 6 cylinders, Ford decided not to offer such a classic powertrain. Instead, base models come with a Turbo 4, while a turbocharged V6 is available as an option. With forced induction, it's clear that these engines offer superior low-end torque, while improved fuel economy should be another benefit. But it turns out that's not the case. If you look at the manufacturer's claims, the base Turbo 4 is good for about 20 mpg city and 21 mpg highway, while the V6 can return up to 17 mpg city and 20 mpg highway. These are not bad ratings, but still, the Wrangler's naturally aspirated V6 is good for about 17 mpg city and 23 mpg highway. Clearly, the benefits of smaller displacement engines aren't significant, but the bigger problem is that mpg ratings drop drastically if you pick some of the tougher versions, with increased ground clearance and bigger tires. In such variants, the average fuel economy easily plummets to 17 miles per gallon, which is pretty much as bad as the previous generation 4Runner with its ancient 4.0-liter V6. For many, that's a bit of a letdown, especially if we put things in the context that most drivers would even accept lower MPG ratings for the sake of reliability. That's something Toyota owners have been doing for years. In Ford's case, things are a little bit different because its engines come with a couple of serious reliability issues, which we're about to check in a moment. Number 3. Reliability concerns. One of the key reasons why many owners decided to sell their Bronco is the fact that this off-roader is no champion of reliability. Issues are various, but we can start with the engines. The base 2.3-liter inline-4 has become famous for its turbo wastegate issues, and that problem didn't skip Bronco either. The optional 2.7-liter V6 turned out to be even more problematic, with frequent failures at pretty low mileage. Simply, the moment this engine was released, something was wrong, and that something was the valve design, which tends to fail at pretty low mileage and damage other parts of the engine as well. It all escalated with Ford's massive recall of more than 700,000 trucks and SUVs equipped with this engine, including Broncos produced in 2021 and 2022. The list of reliability issues goes on, and besides engine issues, many owners complained about uneven tire wear. Drivers would notice strange vibrations at pretty low mileage, and first, it was believed that there were some issues with the steering system. Eventually, it turned out that the tires didn't wear equally on Bronco. The actual cause hasn't been revealed yet, but most experts believe it could be some flaw in the suspension design. The problem occurs predominantly on the rear axle, and while Ford suggested more frequent tire rotation, owners are disappointed with the fact that the company still hasn't offered a real solution. Number 2. Build quality and strange design solutions. What would you do if you realized that your brand new car has some pretty serious flaws in terms of build quality? Of course, you would sell it as soon as possible, and that's exactly what's happening with many Bronco owners right now, because some things on this SUV are really hard to explain. For example, some hardcore versions like the Sasquatch package lack quintessential features. This super capable off-roader comes with mud terrain tires, but for some reason, it doesn't come with mud flaps. So what happens next is that once you step off the road, these massive tires will start throwing rocks around. And with no flaps to protect the body, the paint gets damaged easily, and soon enough, rust will appear on an almost new vehicle. We already talked about Bronco's interior and its materials, but probably an even bigger concern is that there's a lot of rattle and strange noise, which clearly suggests that the interior parts haven't been assembled well. Furthermore, the sealing on roof panels is far from great, so cases of water leaks have been reported as well. Then there are fender flares, massive pieces of plastic designed to protect the paint. Well, the only problem is that these are super easy to remove. A couple of latches and that's it. So a couple of tough off-road sessions and it can fall off. For the same reason, these are also super easy to steal items. Number 1. Not the most practical SUV around. The Bronco is clearly a remarkable off-roader, but that comes with a big sacrifice in terms of everyday practicality. First of all, there's the ride quality, which may be better compared to the Wrangler, but it's nowhere near modern unibody crossovers in terms of comfort and refinement. Furthermore, there's the matter of fuel economy, which certainly is a deciding factor when it comes to daily commuting. The Bronco is a boxy SUV with respectable proportions, which means it could be a little bit tricky when it comes to parking and maneuvering in tight urban environments, and the visibility could be compromised with that massive spare wheel hanging on the rear hatch. Its removable doors and roof panels are a fantastic thing, but only for weekend adventures. For everyday rides, this is not all that convenient, especially if assembly and disassembly are a part of everyday routine. It makes ownership more complicated, while frequent exposure to the elements can be concerning too. Finally, there's the matter of passenger comfort. While front seats are spacious and quite comfortable, that can't be said for the back seats, even if we're talking about the 4-door version. That model might have easy access to the back, but rear seats lack legroom when compared to most crossovers. There are a few more concerns to keep in mind, such as the folding mechanism of the rear seats, which is a little bit complicated. Also, rear passengers won't be happy with the fact that there are no cup holders, as well as that ventilation is far from ideal, considering that vents are positioned under the seats, not on the center console as they should be. Thanks for watching, and see you next time.